Hi guys, welcome to my very DIY video to go with your DIY kit. You get to be here in my bedroom with my baby and we're gonna make it work. Yeah, this production is brought to you by COVID, making everything difficult since 2019. So, we are going to open up our kit. So there was two choices. You had blue, cool blue, or warm red. I'm going to open both of them, show you what's inside. They are different, but they're going to have the same function, and I'll explain as we go. And then I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful wreath here, which is a warm red one. But again, you can use the same materials for making a cool blue. Also, just a note, you really don't have to make this exact same thing. It's your kit, it's your stuff, you can do whatever you like. But this is a style that I like, it's easy to show, and it uses all the material in the bag. So be creative, cut things up, do whatever you want, add your own stuff. But for now, I'm going to show you how to make this one, which will also show you quite a few of the skills that you need for making a wreath that you kind of can replicate any other time you do one. So let's start by opening them up. Actually, a few things that you're going to want to have around first is coffee and treats, if you have anything. I didn't have any treats. But it's nice to relax, have fun, put on some good tunes. If you're with a friend in your little COVID bubble, that sounds great. You probably are going to want to have a pair of scissors around. Everything in the kit should be made up so that you don't have to have scissors, but if you do have them, it might be nice if you want to cut things a little shorter, cut them apart into smaller pieces, and also for cutting wire, but it's a really thin wire, so any sort of household scissors will do the trick. So I have my scissors, and then I also have a couple little baskets to separate stuff out in so that when I want to grab what I want, I know where it is, but you can just lay it out on your table. I just like to keep things separate so I know what I'm working with. But again, use your space, do what you want, and here we go. So, cool blue kit. I'm going to open her up. You think so? You like the cool blue? Alright, so in every kit you're going to find your hoop. It's a willow hoop that I make out of willow from our area here. They're really sturdy. Don't yank on them too much. Once you get your wire on, especially, it's going to be solid, and once they dry out, which will happen in a few days, then they will be really nice and strong. Also, all of them come with a little hook on the top so that you're ready to just, you know where your top is, and we're going to work around it, but then that top also is ready to hook onto a door. So we have your hoop. We're going to throw that. Actually, we'll put it up here so it's out of the way. Alright. And then every kit as well is going to have a spool of wire. They're a little funny, but it's the way I could get wire to all you people. There's enough wire on here. There should be more than enough to do your entire wreath. But one thing is, as I'll show you, you don't actually have to be excessive with wire to keep things on. You just have to be smart with how you put it on. So you don't need a ton of wire. You just need to put it on tightly. So we've got our spools of wire. And then each kit is going to have a bit of an accessory. Peacock feathers are in the cool blue kit. And then each one is going to have 3 miscanthus grasses. That's what's coming out this side here. So we're going to put those here, peacock feathers here out of the way. Okay. And then each kit is going to have kind of a focal dried element. So cool blue has hops. They're going to go really nicely in this chunk here to finish up. And then there also is going to be a dried element. So this one has a purple sea holly thistle. So they're a little sharp, but the stems are clean, so they're good to work with. So you don't need to wear gloves or anything, but they're also going to be in there. So we're going to tuck them also into our little jar so that they're out of the way. Then each kit is going to come with a pine cone. It's a really nice focal piece. Make sure it helps make things look Christmassy, which is nice. So, white pine cone here. And the other one is going to have a different color pine cone. So we'll put that guy there so we know where to find it. And then last but not least, there should be enough greenery to do a 3/4 wreath. If not, you can probably make more out of it depending on how creative you're getting. But yeah, it should be enough to fill up half of your wreath space. Cool blue, you have a combination of balsam, smells incredible, and just a regular fir. And so there'll be enough pile in there to do your whole wreath, so we'll have them. Okay, and then for those of you that are going to be doing the warm red, which is what we'll be using for example today, but again, you can use any of the materials kind of for any of it. So we're going to open that baggie up. I've got a really good knot on there. Nice. Alright, so each basket, again, is going to have your willow frame hoop. You're going to have 3 miscanthus grasses. So in the reds you have a hydrangea instead of the hops, which makes that really nice chunky piece to go opposite. Stick that guy in there. You have pine cone. Yours are going to be gold rather than the cool white. Put that one there. Alright. And then we have, what are these? Nigella. They're a really nice dried flower. They have a little bit of a pink hint to them. They're going to be your dried element that will go kind of spaced around. And then you're also going to have a bunch of Oregon grape. They go red depending on the soil and the dryness that they're in, and they're really common around, but they make this beautiful red, kind of like a holly. So they're your red element in your wreath. I'm going to set them there for working with later. And then you have your greenery, which there'll be enough to do half your wreath covered nicely, if not more. And yours is a combination of cedar, smells beautiful, boxwood, and you're also going to have a little bit of fir. The fir makes it kind of nice and puffy because these guys are a little flat. And that's your combination. And then last but not least, hiding in the bag, you will have a spool of wire as well, so that you'll be able to make this whole wreath, and there should be more than enough. Okay, welcome back. So we are going to start on our wreath. We have our hoops. There's this little hook at the top that's going to show me my top. So what we're going to do is we're going to start kind of right at that edge, and we're going to bring our greenery till about a quarter down, or a third down. And then at that point we're going to stop with the greenery, and then we're going to turn around and go the other way and add on some of those focal elements like the hydrangea. So we're going to hook it up onto here. I like working with something up on a ledge, but also working on a table works fine. Whatever works for you, doesn't matter. So we have our spool of wire. I like not working with like the whole thing at once, but you could leave it on the spool if you want. I'm going to start with the arm's length. Cut that guy off so it's ready to go. So I'm going to show a close-up in a sec, but you always want to anchor your wire first so that it's nice and strong, and then start getting your greenery on there. Again, you don't need a lot of wire. You just have to make sure that as you're adding, you're pulling tight and making sure that your first and your last points are as strong as possible. So you want to twist it around itself as much as possible. If there's a branch that you can hook underneath, that always helps. So have our first wire here. Then what works really good is to go with groups of 3. So I'm going to grab 3 branches, 3 different ones here. They're all going to be cut to the size that you should need, so you shouldn't have to cut them more. So you're going to grab 3 different ones, and you're just going to place them on there, kind of as a little bundle. Then, sorry, I try not to put my back to you. Then you're going to wrap the wire around while you're holding it and pull really tight. Usually I go around once, but if you really want to, you can go around twice, just so that it's on there while you go and grab your next bunch. So you have 3 on there, and then we're just going to grab another 3 here. So 1, 2, 3, and you can mix up the order, you can mix up the size. And we're just going to do now that you have your greens, I'm going to stop here. I did about a third of them covered in greens. This last bit, you really can wrap your wire around quite a bit because we want it to be really solid, because we're going to start attaching things into it. So what I'm going to actually do first is I'm going to add my reds going along down this side. And I'm going to show you a cool trick that I think works really well for when you're working with something like these nigella that are really fragile. And that way then you're not shoving them in and breaking the stem. Some people like to add them in as they work. I like to put the greenery in first and then add in, because then you get a bit of a nicer look, I find. So, my trick is this. I say, take greenery, something that's really sturdy and strong, And then you're going to just take a few of your delicate things, in this case the nigella, and then you're going to hold it onto that stem, and I'll show you a close-up in a second as well. Take a set of wire, good job, and then you're just going to take a little bit of wire and you're going to attach those delicate stems to the stronger stem, so that way when you go to place it in the wreath, it's going to fit in there really nicely. So, there we go. One ready to go. I'm going to do three or four more, and we're going to... going this direction, and I saved one of them and we're going to put it the opposite way. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to do the opposite. And so the key with adding in the new greenery and then going the opposite way, we're not actually adding more wire. What we're doing, we're tucking the stems in under that existing wire. So when you put something in, you don't want to just set it in so that it's held in by the greens. You want to actually make sure that that new stem is tucked underneath the wire where the greenery is. Yeah. Which is a little tricky to get the first couple of times, but it doesn't hurt to just take it out, put it back, take it out, put it back. So now I'm going to get my miscanthus grasses. We have 3 of them, and because they're going to be the farthest out this direction, I'm going to put them in first, and then I'm going to work my way back to the elements. We have our miscanthus, then next on top I layered in some Oregon grape to make a little red on this side, and then this hydrangea is going to balance with the pine cone to be a central focal piece, and it covers up that middle where you did all your work. So last but not least, we're going to get our pine cone in there, and it's going to go to the opposite of the hydrangea, and then you have this nice big center that looks Christmassy, shouts Christmas. So the pine cones already have a wire attached, so you should just be able to slip that in. And then this new wire that you're adding, if at any point you want to add more wire to help anchor things, hold things in better, go for it. Yeah, you don't want to have a wreath that's going to be falling apart on you, which is sometimes the case. So, and because it has a wire, you can always wiggle it around. You want to get it placed just right where you want it, so it's going to stay there the whole season long. This part is always the trickiest to work back in where you are already working. So you have to be this combination of delicate but forceful to get stuff where you want it. Yeah, now that we added in the dry elements, it's important to be especially gentle, but it's not that hard. Okay, so I'm really liked how that's looking. We'll point towards you a bit. We have that middle, we have this direction going, and then we have this direction. That is our wreath. It's a beautiful half moon shape. You can keep them inside or out. If you keep them out, the green lasts really nice in the humidity of outside. But if you keep them inside, they're okay too. They just get a little more delicate. And I think that's the end of our time. So, Merry Christmas. Thank you for doing your wreath. And we'll see you soon.